murmured Pinny Penny resignedly. Now, Skampavia, I must tell you, is roughly divided into 7 counties, and over each county Skamperoo had set a supervisor, whose duty it was to govern the province and to turn over to him 1/3 of all produce and merchandise in that county. To save time, and easily identify them, the supervisors were known by the size of the counties they governed. For instance, the supervisor of the first county, which was 1 mile wide and 10 miles long, was called 1/10. The supervisor of the second county, 2/4. The others were variously known as 3/6, 9/5, 8/8, 5/9, and 4/7. Twice a year, the supervisors rode into the capital with their tribute, and now, down in the courtyard, the 7 tremendous Skampavians were in a perfect pitched battle, helped out by all the guards and palace servants. "Argument!" roared the king, slapping Pinny Penny rudely on the shoulder. "It's a fight, and you know it. Ho, ho! Just look at the good-for-nothing rascals. I tell you, old Two-Pins, however poorly they serve us as farmers and merchants, our Skampavians can certainly fight. And who says I'm too hard on them? Have I not given every man Jack a dress uniform and gun, and made them learn military drilling and marching at the Royal College?" "And what use is all this drilling and marching?" inquired Pinny Penny wearily. Letting the curtain fall, he hurried away, for well he knew, if he did not put a stop to the conflict in the courtyard, every window in the palace would be broken. "Now what did he mean by that?" muttered Skamperoo peevishly as his little Prime Minister whisked out of sight. Pursing his lips, he seated himself heavily on his throne. After all, Pinny Penny had only spoken the truth. Why had his father, or his father's father, ever picked out this pesky little country in the first place? Located in the southern part of the desert of Noland, between the kingdoms of Ix and Merryland, Skampavia, he was forced to admit, had neither riches, beauty, nor interest. His castle, though poor and shabby, was comfortable enough, and having lived in it all his life, he was used to it. He had put up with the hot, dry climate and the poor quality of the food, but, after all, why should he continue to do so? In those long-ago days in the schoolroom, he had studied of energetic rulers who had taken their armies and gone forth to conquer richer and more desirable lands from their neighbours. Well then, why should not he take his men, push over the border into a more fertile and kindly land? The idea pleased, but at the same time annoyed him. Skamperoo was fat and lazy. He loved quiet and ease, and the thought of a hard military campaign made him shudder with distaste. Still, he reflected, remembering Pinny Penny's reproachful face, a king should do something for his subjects, and the more he did for them, ho, the more he could make them do for him. A rich and prosperous country meant a rich and prosperous ruler. Discontentedly fingering the rough cloth from which his royal robes were fashioned, he began to picture himself decked out in splendid satins and velvets heavily encrusted with jewels. Jewels, pah! All the jewels he had were his plain gold sceptre, badly dented and bent from hurling at Pinny Penny. Taking off the crown, he scowled at it critically and began considering the realms on either side of his own dominions. To the north there was nothing but a sandy strip of desert and the tossing waters of the Nonestic Ocean. East lay the kingdom of Ix, and Zixi, the little queen, he considered too pleasant and friendly to conquer. Besides, the climate of Ix was not much better than that of his own country. To the west of Skampavia was Merryland, and at one time a band of his roistering Skampavians had crossed over into that country bent on theft and mischief. Recalling the way they had been welcomed and entertained by the cheerful King of Merryland and sent home simply laden with presents, he hastily dismissed that country too. How could he fight a monarch like that? To the south lay the burning sands of the deadly desert, which no man in his own kingdom had ever succeeded in crossing. So, having exhausted all the possibilities of the immediate neighbourhood, Skamperoo tapped his foot in vexation and began casting about in his mind for some fair and far-away country to conquer. He closed his eyes in order to think better, and was just on the point of falling into a pleasant doze of riches and conquest when Pinny Penny came noisily into the room. He was preceded by 2 of the king's supervisors, who, urged forward by the fearless little Prime Minister, stood sulkily and defiantly before the throne. "Well, what now?" demanded Skamperoo, blinking his eyes sleepily. "Can you not handle these arguments yourself, Pinny Penny? Is a king to have no rest or privacy at all?" Instead of answering,